シナルですね。 Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to another amazing night.
We have a fantastic match tonight, no question about it.
Oh my god, yes!
But the barrage! Make sure they can't even follow up afterwards.
And Watcher's down 2 in this fight thus far. Make that 3, make that 4 right now here. Dynamic team gets a 4-man tire.
Those who find the picks will save the fights, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
100 and 3 wins the rival race.
Experience tranquility.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Harmony Tier EU feature match tonight here in Tranquility Gaming. I am Mr. Yeti. Joining me tonight is Unchanged. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. You know, feeling a lot better than I have recently. Been getting back from that, horrible thing that shall not be named that kept us all inside for years. Yeah, really looking forward to tonight's matchup, actually. This is two teams that my team has personally played the last 2 weeks. So, I know a lot about these two teams. I've seen them play firsthand, and yeah, I'm interested. This is going to be a really good matchup for these two.
It should be a lot of fun tonight. We have Aten Esports taking on Orthus. We have Orthus right now. This stage, they are sitting at 1-1, and we have Aten Esports coming up at 2-0. So they've had a really good first stage. They were both 1-4 in stage 1. So both these teams, a lot to prove in this stage, to prove just how talented they can be and how much capability they do have to compete in this tier. And I think so far they have answered the task and answered the call. And both Orthus had a couple of very close matchups here already this stage, and A10 as well obviously had a very close matchup last week with EU Scrimbucks in a just absolute barn burner. We'll call it a 3-2 against EU. So that was a big win for them. I mean, how are you feeling about this matchup in general? Who do you expect to kind of be the pace setter tonight and come out on top, or perhaps come out on top here?
So A10, that's one thing they're actually really good at. That's one thing they did really well, having seen the VODs from my own team, is they took the initiative really, really well. They were always like the first team to engage on the team fight. So whoever their coach is, applause to them. They're clearly doing a good job at setting their team up to know that as soon as they're ready, they engage, they take the fight. Orthus, on the other hand, were a little bit more passive, but they have some good team comps, and it'll be interesting to see on a map like Oasis being our first map. It'll be interesting to see, I'm not sure what team comps these guys are going to run. There was, particularly from Orthus, they were more happy to play the kind of ball comps. A10 was a little bit more set on like the standard Winston dive.
Exactly, and I expect it looks like they're going to come out on again. We have Nero, one of the people, by the way, nominated for one of the end of season rewards on that tank for this team. They're coming out now on this dive composition with the Mercy and the Lucio. We see a ball composition coming out here from Orthus. A little bit of a different look here. As right now Nero is staging himself onto the high ground, looking for an opportunity to get in there. Shinbo looking for a chance to get a hack in on that wrecking ball. Definite first target there. Not able to get that off as it's fended off there by the wrecking ball. We see Beater now coming in here. Beater is a ringer here for A10 today, looking for an opportunity to get splashed in a little bit of damage here. But the first point take is going to go to A10 here while this fight is ongoing. However, the first kill of the night is going to fall in the hands of Flake here as they take down Shinbo, looking for another hack. Nero right now pressing the advantage for A10 just a little bit here, trying to continue to hold this point off as Bald tries to get a hack in, does not, and is taken down quickly. And it looks like A10 is starting to turn this one back in their favor here a little bit, Unchanged.
Yeah, it looked like they had to first fight down, but, Kiori's still alive. Never mind. Kiori getting stuck, and that takes out Flake and Kiori. There's a huge stick from Beta there. So, really well played. it did look, once Flake got that first kill and Shimba was out, they didn't have the hack potential. I was like, oh, the ball and everyone's going to be free to go in now. They're going to get, a nice clean engage. And then, Aten just started pushing kills back in their favor. Shimbo and Beta doing really well, and a huge, way to clean up the fight from Beta there. The Ringer does get picked off here, but a nice 2k pulse bomb to kind of clean up that fight for sure.
There we go. Next fight now for Balo sitting on that EMP, but taken down there in the Symmetra duel. The sound barrier is put in by Norek here as Orthus tries to press it a little bit of an advantage here, but they're not going to be able to get anything off as a big EMP then comes in from Shinbo, followed up by that sticky bomb, not connecting with anything. Right now, kills are not being traded by either team. Transcendence now invested by Kiori here. Another EMP, and it's big this time from Balo. And it's going to open up an opportunity here for Orthus here. Self-destruct now in from Bizo. And it does connect with Kiori, so one healer now down. And it looks like the kills are continuing to trade. But as these trades continue to come through here Unchanged, it looks like in the end, is Aten going to come out on top here?
I think they are again. These scrappy fights, neither team's really got much to go, but the point presence, Winston being a bit more set is able to get it, but an EMP comes out and there's pulse bombs, ultra flying out from both teams. This is 99% already. This is last fight. People are just going to have to desperately touch, and is there going to be enough damage? A hack out on the bold should be a pick, but Kiori came back on the Arn and is getting kills now, so decided, Zen wasn't working. I'm just going to get killed by a remet kill from Bezunors, gets bold, so this could go either way. Kiori getting more kills again.
It's a wild fight right now, and Kiori and Flake are carrying the load right now for Orthus, and it does look like Orthus are going to manage to get this flip over here on A10. Unchanged, I mean, like you said, just these scrappy, long fights for both of these teams, and really neither team kind of took control until the very end, and finally Flake and Kiori said, just fine, we'll do it ourselves.
Yeah, support carry. They are both up there. I believe they were both up there as two of the supports mentioned in the end of season awards. And Flake on this brig is doing a lot of damage, taking down Beater and Shimbo multiple times with these stun flails.
All right, next engagement underway here with the mines invested by Asfog. And here we go now as he continues to push with this mines, and that does take down Norak, and that is going to create an opening here again for Orthus to claim yet another fight. The long journey from 99-0 is on, but they are in pretty good shape here with a couple of big ults coming up.
Yeah, they're starting to find the tempo here. They're starting to get the coordination. The hacks are coming in. They're diving the right targets. Flake is just shutting down anyone that tries to get anywhere near Kiori. They've got the armor build up. The next engagement's coming in, but it still looks like very comfortable team fights for Orthus at this point.
Orthus is in really good control right now. Self-destruct from Bees and yours. EMP follows it up, and it does catch Kiori, but a huge counter EMP for Balo. Balo does go down here with 4 hacked out of that EMP, but it's countered now. It looks like actually Shinbo's EMP got canceled by that EMP. An impressive play there from Balo, and it does look like Orthus right now is in pretty good shape. The res, though, onto Shinbo means they have the numbers advantage for A10. Dr. Shark now on the Tracer, trying to get some picks off here. Wins the Tracer 1v1 versus Beater. And Dr. Shark now engaging further as Unda takes down Nero. Norak gets the pick off onto Asfog, and he continues to go on here on this as the Nano comes in onto the Sombra. And Balo right now is putting in the work and putting in the damage here for Orthus. It's 99% right now, and if you're A10, what started so good is turning into a bit of a disaster.
Yeah, it looked like it took them time to warm up, but they're definitely on it. The minefield kind of covering half the point for Asfog, and the rest of his team playing around it. The dive aren't able to get into them, and now Under gets 2 kills. That's cleaning up this team fight. Yeah, 99% of this was clear. It was 99-0. A10 looked like for sure they were going to win it. They only needed one fight. They could have stacked 6 ults to try and win that. And instead, Orthus just goes, nah, we're going to flip this. We're going to reverse sweep. Here's 100% back in your face. And they just won every team fight. And a lot of it was the supports. Kiori swapped over to the Ana, and the healing was, an insane amount better. She was dying a lot less. Clearly a comfort pick for her there. And Flake also just suddenly started to pop off on that brig. She was getting the timing down for A10's engagements and then just shutting it down. She gave, there was no room in that backline for any of A10 to try and dive. They were just suffocated by the Brig, and it's great to see good support play like that. And
Absolutely.
you know, in the meantime, Asfog and Under were just taking space. Bold and Dr. Shark doing a job. They put damage out. It's a hell of a way to flip 99% on its head like that.
Exactly. Good play there overall from Orthus to turn that thing around. The counter opportunity, or the opportunity now for A10 to bounce back as we head over to the Gardens. And right now, it looks like high ground has been obtained. We'll see a brawl composition now from A10, while the ball and diva composition remains in place here for Orthus. Beater taking a lot of pressure right now, brought very low, but is being kept alive. Just no amount of healing will save you for that. But it looks like Asfog is going to follow him into the abyss there as well. Blondie Rogue right now is trying to keep the tank line up, and they will. It looks like just like last map, A10 is going to pick up the first cap here on this map.
Yeah, being able to keep Beater alive, even with that pressure he was taking, going a little bit far past his front line there. But the Brawl comp is now going to be really good to try and hold. And we see that Orthus now have to try and swap to Brawl to counter it. They didn't feel like they were going to be able to dive into this setup Brawl comp, so they opt to just try and mirror it. But they do still have the Sombra in the backline looking for a cheeky hack.
And a good hack there onto Nero as well. Going to neutralize Nero. And a big freeze, though, comes in onto Orthus. And Shinbo on the Mei is causing some problems right now for Orthus. A10 sitting on top here after a couple of kills. And that is going to mean that they continue to hold this point here unchanged. 40% and counting as the trickle goes on. You got to feel real good right now for A10.
Yeah, Norak has just been Asfog's like nemesis this map. That's 2 team fights and twice he's booped him off the map. Doesn't matter whether you're a Ryan, doesn't matter whether you're a Bull, Norak will find a way to get you off the map. So you got to be careful about these cliffs here, and they opt to take it from the low ground this time. But Narrow in the
Narrow with a massive Earth Shatter, and A10 is going to sweep over the team right here using. I mean, if you use one ult, why you not use them all unchanged? That's A10's theory here, and boy, oh boy, did they use them all. By the way, we are aware of the title, or the team title, or team name issue in the scoreboard. We're going to get that fixed here in just a moment. Hang tight.
Yeah, we'll be swapped off the map. But yeah, a lot of ults used. They do still have Diva Bomb, which is, you know, in a Brawl v Brawl situation, is a very good ult to have to clear space and hold your positioning. They still have May. Never mind, they're going to engage with it. I said one thing that A10 like to do is take the aggressive fights, and they've done just that. And Bezinor manages to get a kill out. I think that was while in baby form.
It was while in baby form. What a crazy kill there. Self-destruct now in from Unda only finds an immortality field for their efforts. Well, they did find a mech as well. Dr. Shark goes to work there and skillfully takes down 2 of A10. But despite that, it doesn't look like it's going to work out. Oh, did Beater just disconnect there? I think they might have DC'd or something, because they were standing still for a while. The fight continues on the point here as just the Lucio now stands, and Norak goes down. 99-0 for A10. Spoke way too soon here, Unchanged, and here we go again.
Yeah, can Orthus pull off a second kind of reverse sweep 99-0? We will see, but A10, that's a good hold. You know, they got 99%. They do still just need that one team fight. They got time to build some ults. It's trying not to burn them all too early like they have previously, but Balo in the backline looking menacing. Gets a hack off. Is that a hack? Gets
Looks like got out there, but Nero Earth Shatters with 4 of them. Sound Barrier still gets out for Flake, though. That does negate some of the advantage created there as Beater gets a huge kill onto Flake there, and suddenly it looks like the kills are starting to go in A10's favor, but Dr. Shark is operating in the backline right now for A10, and Orthus appears to still be just barely in control. The freeze coming in takes down Unda, prevents Unda from getting back in the mech. Here comes the EMP now from Balo, the Blizzard from Shinbo, and the scrappy fight will continue. Balo and Kiori take him down. Looks like the fight continues on the point. The sound barrier now in from Norak to keep him and Nero, or to keep them and Nero alive. Nero swinging that rocket hammer like he's just trying to make something happen. And it looks like A10 is just getting all the reinforcements back in time, and Peter will get 2. And here comes the self-destruct from Unda, not going to connect with anything there as Bizo takes down Unda as well. And A10 finally appears to be in control here. This long fight continues. They can't seem to close it out unchanged. I am running out of voice here.
Yeah, this fight isn't ending. Another hack comes in onto Narrow. Kiori's getting kills on the Beater, but Bezunor's on the Diva doing a lot of work. That's Asfog and Flake out the fight. Now Ballo going down to Shimbo. This fight looks flipped, but the point isn't. There's 90% basically ticked here. It's going over. They're still not capping. So, you know, Orthus are happy to just keep staggering and hope that they can get one fight off, but shot from Narrow. Didn't want that bull going anywhere. Again, Bezuno's getting more kills and the D-Mech onto Under. And then Beater, that's huge. That could flip this fight for sure. A 2-man high noon from Beater. That could be all that they needed to flip this. Now it's just a bull desperately trying to contest. It's going to be staggers in now. It's overtime. They're not going to get a pin. Oh, Kiori just ate that pin from Narrow, and that really was the end of it there. So that, like you said, what looked like a scrappy fight, it was a scrappy fight. That was, I think, all the way from 20% to 99% that Orthus managed to cap there in the time that it looked like Aten had control, but they didn't have actual point control. So it was just one really long, drawn-out fight, and then eventually the ult came online just at the right time for A10. They got the shatter, they got the high noon, it got them the kills they needed. They finally flipped it. They already had 99% from their previous hold, so it was just that one fight win. And now we go into the hard brawl map. We've just seen these two teams run brawl v brawl. It looked like A10 were a little bit superior, and this is now the brawl map coming up here.
Brawl map on the table now. Brawl has seemed to have favor A10 just a little bit so far. It's been a little bit of a favor. Shinbo in the May been very strong so far. The team's pour out here. Side room taken by Orthus here as A10 just chooses to head right to the point instead. So right now, a little bit of a firing range right now for Beater on this Cassidy, and a huge stun into Orthus's core, and that is going to create a little bit of a window of opportunity here for A10 as they manage to get under D-Mech. But it looks like Orthus is going to turn this around. Big kill onto Blondie Rogue from Asfog, and that is going to create, again, the opening for Orthus. And, well, a first for the night so far. Orthus will get the first cap.
Barrier is almost ready.
Yeah, sorry, I muted my mic there. I didn't want to hear everyone to hear me cough. I forgot to unmute, but yeah, a nice first fight win for Orthus. Like I said, not something we've seen, but you know, they came out and they actually mirrored the brawl this time, and they were able to, you know, win the first fight. So maybe this is what they should have done on the last map.
Absolutely. Here we go now. And Beater does find Kiori here, takes them down. We see the amplification matrix in now, disc and being negated here. And we see a big sim wall in now is going to negate the ultimate from Beater as well. The Earth Shatter invested by Asfog not connecting, however, and A10 just sweeping through Orthus right now. And A10 will take control here in University, but 34% now for Orthus.
Yeah, and you know, they'll be happy about that team fight. They got a lot of ults out of the Orthus team as well. You know, so they've got some coming online, but they've got Beat that should be able to try and sustain them through this Blizzard. But really, Ballo's Blizzard is going to be the defining factor of this upcoming fight.
Ballo right now with that Blizzard looking for a window of opportunity to get that one in there. Amplification Matrix is now put in by Blondie Rogue. The sound barrier in from Norak to negate that beat. And Bezunor's pops the Diva Bomb as well. It's not going to find any targets, but Ballo does drop nonetheless here. The healers right now for A10 putting in a lot of work right now. Blondie Rogue and Norak doing a ton to keep their team in this. Despite that ultimate barrage there from Orthus, A10 will hold off thanks to some fantastic support play.
Yeah, Norak, like I said, they had that beat to counter it. Ballo didn't get the big Blizzard that they were sure to be hoping for, and it didn't get the kills. So then, like you said, A10 just came back. They pumped in the healing, and they allowed their team to just push forward and get the kills they needed. And now Beater has High Noon to create space, and you know, neither team really looking comfortable here, and Norak still looking for some cheeky boops.
We see Deadeye now from Beater here as they break through the wall. Going to be met by the bullets from Beater, not finding any targets though, and Asfog instead proves to be the true marksman with that flame strike. Right now, Asfog pushing in to the core of A10, and it does look like A10 will fall here. The stagger is now on, as the Diva on to point was the last one for A10, and Orthus will take it now, but 90% cap for A10.
Yeah, that fight was as good as over. As soon as Blondie got picked off, you lose that bat peeling in a brawl v brawl mirror match. Your front line just has no way to sustain the fight, and Orthus knew that, and they pushed right in. Asphalt took some great space, got some good kills, counter pin to make sure nothing else happened in his backline. And now it's just back to Brawl v Brawl, but now from Ballo, that's a better Blizzard. That's in a room, that's got everyone down.
A fantastic Blizzard there from Ballo, and that is all that they're going to need to close that fight out, which is great. Now you're sitting on 2 really good tank ultimates here. You're getting closer to that sound barrier. So Orthus has got to be feeling good here, knowing that really all that they have on the side of A10 right now is an Earth Shatter and a Amplification Matrix. So coming into last fight here, more than likely for both teams. As we get an opportunity here on University. The Earth Shatter is big from Narrow. Gonna find 2 targets there, but not able to take any of them down. Here comes the self-destruct now. Does find Beater. Beater is down. Huge source of damage now out for A10. But when you have Narrow swinging that rocket hammer, you don't need a Cassidy rocket for your team there. And A10 looks to be in control here. Sound barrier of victory put in by Norak. 95% here. It doesn't look like it looks like they might get a little touch here on change. Barely,
yeah,
just
the Shark and Ballo under the, they all kind of threw their bodies on there. There wasn't much coordination, but they made sure they got there, and I don't think it's going to be enough, though. The kills are coming in. Dr. Shark and Ashfog, though, in the backline, just kind of doing their job. The wall, Dr. Shark's doing amazingly well dancing around this symbol right now. Oh my god.
Dr. Shark is going to clutch this one out. My goodness, Orthus. Dr. Shark on the Symmetra manages to somehow clutch it out there. And A10 right now is coming in on the Wrecking Ball. We see Narrow swing up and pile drive in, but it's only Narrow in on the point right now. Lucio now on as well.
Reaper damage is huge.
Insane turn of events here for Orthus. Sound barrier now invested from Flake to try to close this one out here, and it does look like Orthus is just going to manage to hang on by the hair on their chin. Orthus will clutch this point out and take Oasis unchanged.
I need to clip some of that shield dancing that Dr. Shark just did at the end and show it to every Winston player I've ever played with. That is how you dance around a shield and make sure you do not die while just beaming someone down. Dr. Shark got like 3 kills at the end there on like less than half HP, just dancing around that symbol. Like, there is no way you can shoot me through this. Just like shimmying side to side, like I'm on this side. Oh no, now I'm on this, and just killed everyone. Like, created enough space, gave enough time for the rest of the team to come back. And once that Reaper was set up on point in an overtime situation,
exactly,
that burst damage, just no one could survive through it. That was such an interesting last fight to see. I thought A10 had that there.
I was blown away by what we just witnessed, guys. I have no idea how that just happened, and I'm still kind of in shock about the whole thing as well. So, my goodness, fantastic stuff there from Orthus to clutch that one out. Huge plays from Dr. Shark. Like you said, that shield dancing on that Symmetra barrier was absolutely crazy. But again, it's like I tell my teams all the time, you have to kill the Symmetra. Don't ignore the Symmetra. The Symmetra is always the problem, guys. It always is the problem. But anyways, Unchanged, we're going to Volskaya now. What do you think here?
This is an interesting, given the team comps that we've seen, I'd say, Narrow preferring the Winston and Double Bubble being one of, the better comps for a map like this. I say A10 should have a bit of an advantage, but at the same time, Dr. Shark and Ballo, the DPS, and like I said, Flake and Curie as well as the supports on Orthus were doing really well at keeping themselves alive. So, seeing a Rhine come out on this map is now making me question my pick of saying A10 favor this. I'm not sure how I feel about a Rhine trying to slow walk onto this first point here in particular, especially looking at the damage that Orthus have picked. That double snipe spam.
That is going to be a challenge. That is going to be kind of a gross challenge to deal with. We see the Orisa and the Sigma. By the way, did you see the Orisa rework that came out today? On another note,
I saw. Yeah, no shield. Interesting.
No shield. No halt. No supercharger. A completely different character, basically. I'm really excited. Overwatch 2, less than a week away, guys. That's crazy to think about. Here we go, still in Overwatch 1, still on the one game mode that is not going to be around in Overwatch 2. As we go through Volskaya here, the Symmetra Telly is going to be looked for by Shinbo here. trying to set up to get up to that high ground, you have to imagine. And with Norak already down, you got to wonder if it's even worth the force high ground right now. And it looks like they are just going to peel back here to reset.
Yeah, and I said about, you know, the spam, the poke from the double sniper, but, you know, if you catch a log to the head from Hanzo, that's that fight over. Anyone picked off for this Brawl Comp, you don't want to be trying to rush into people when you're down, and now the rotations come in from Orthus, and they're just going to play the distance game. That's all, especially now that, like, they got to wait for the Lucio, they're just going to keep running away from them.
Here comes the teleporter, and it's a good one there. We see the Brawl composition able to get onto this and start creating some havoc right now. Supports for Orthus having, the supports for Aten having to work overtime to withstand the barrage of damage onto their front line, and they will not be able to hold on. And despite the really, really good and clean rotation, good teleporter, it looks like Aten is just going to fall apart here on this attempt at taking that high ground, and we're 2 minutes and 40 seconds right now. So looking real good start here for Orthus.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very good TP, and I thought it was, you know, the only play they had with the team comp they're running. But shout out to Curie, got the immortality field down just inside the door, got all of her team to follow her inside, and the Brawl Comp just couldn't get through that doorway, so they couldn't destroy the immortality field, which just meant that no one from Orthus died. Oh, here's a little cheeky TP though, going the other way. I think it was heard though. You can see the rotation away. I think it was heard.
It was heard. Oh no! Oh! Bizanore's got a little bit too reckless there, and almost paid the price. We see a huge ultimate from Unda lifting the entirety of the core of this brawl, and my goodness, that was dominant right there from Orthus.
Yeah, they, you know, a few more ults than you'd like. You know, you normally want to win a team fight with just 2 ults and have enough in rotation, but they used 3 there. No, they used 4 actually. Balo's just already halfway back to his, but the Dragon Strike came, so they used 4, so a little bit of an overusage, but they do have Bob for contesting point or denying an engage. They have Bongo to increase the damage, which will help everyone build their ult faster, so it's not the worst trade out here. And they still, I mean, they heavily have the compositional advantage here.
And here comes the amplification matrix from Blondie Rogue trying to pressure the high ground a little bit. They're sitting at a very awkward angle to try to keep their team up here. Doesn't look like they were able to catch that teleporter. Narrow right now trying to push through, but it looks like Dr. Shark is gonna find Shinbo with that scattergun there, and it looks like right now 60 seconds left, and the ultimates now are all seeming to come out in favor of Orthus as Aten pops the self-destruct here, not able to connect with really anything of consequence, and this has been just all Orthus right now.
Yeah, and Dr. Shark, perfect use of the Bob there, just allow it to contest point. It got kills as well, which is always a bonus, but in this team comp, Bob really is just your point contest. You see someone try and brawl on point, hey Bob, go stand there and deal with it so that no one on my team has to move. And it's exactly what it did. And like I said, it's just been a compositional difference here. Narrow's now on the ball, but it seems, you know, too little too late at this point.
Exactly. It's probably not going to result in a lot right there, but a pretty good Symmetra barrier right there from Shinbo. That wall will buy some time here. Rotation is on from Balo, not able to find anything with that Dragon Strike. And suddenly the ultimates right now are favoring, and here we go. And the ultimate's heavily favoring A10 this time as Beater found a couple. And there's the team kill horn. And just barely in overtime, as seems to be the classic moment of this match, Unchanged today. A10 manages to hang on.
I'm just gonna stop trying to predict what happens in overtime fights, because every time I have so far, we've seen like 3 or 4 of them already, and I've got all of them wrong. The other team has flipped it in one, so, you know, great use of ults there. I thought the symbol was a little bit too far to the side. It didn't split point, but it gave them enough room to push in, and they got kills off of it. So if it works for you, it's you know, I can't question it. Shinbo knew what they were doing for their team.
Right there, Dr. Shark, however, finds the dynamite there, and a lift now from Unda. Unda puts them up in the air and sends them under the ground, but it looks like A10 is still going to be able to bounce back here. Bob now on from Dr. Shark is going to force Narrow to play a little bit more defensive for the time being, but Bizanor takes Unda down. Wrecking Ball now in for Orthus. These kills are continuing to trade right now, and trades generally favor the defense, but now Shinbo is at full strength right now, and that beam is causing a lot of problems for Orthus. Teleporter now in to help the reinforcements get back sooner, and it looks like Orthus is going to come out on top here as the stagger game comes in for, I'm sorry, A10 is going to come out on top as the stagger game for Orthus continues to come in. What a turnaround there from A10.
Was an impressive retake and an impressive push from A10, and just a little bit of a collapse, in my opinion, from Orthus. Maybe some not great ult usage, some not great ult charge up that they had there in those last couple fights. And yeah, A10 certainly took advantage of that. They went back to the rush, but having that ball that they swapped to for first point was exactly what they needed. They took a bit of space. They stopped trying to slow walk the Rhine in, which is particularly hard to do on this first point. And they got a tank in, and they got some disruption onto the core, which allowed their DPS to then get picks. And as far as second point is concerned, like you said, Dr. Shark got level 3 beam on Sim, and it was as good as over. That anyone that came anywhere near the point with turrets set up and a level 3 beam was just getting their HP chunked out, and yeah, there was nothing Orthus could do to touch at that point. They didn't have it set up. They'd already used their ults to try and win the overtime fight at the end of first. So yeah, it is 2CP with 2CP. You either you hold for forever and you get it to an overtime fight, or you get snowballed from first straight onto second. Welcome to 2CP.
Exactly. Welcome and goodbye to 2CP on that record, by the way. All right, here we go. Now Orthus on the attack, coming out on that Wrecking Ball comp has been working out so well for them. The Brawl composition is being used here with a Soldier 76, so a little bit of a different look here for A10. It's going to be a lot of damage coming into that choke point, so it's going to be pretty hard for them to come in. Soldier 76 happens to be the right choice here as Balo is in on the Echo. Big pile driver there from Asfog, but that being said, no follow-up yet here as the angles are being set up by Orthus, and it looks like they have a lot of control surrounding this point right now. And it looks like A10 is just lost on who to engage on.
Yeah, they have no set engagement. That's the upside of this ball comp. They have all of the off angles, and you're desperately trying to find one-on-one picks, but this is the brawl counter comp. You know, this comp was designed specifically to break up brawl comps, and if you're attacking as well as Orthus did, they just surrounded them, and they're cleaning up the kills here. It gets squished at the end as well. Vezunor is unfortunate, but yeah.
Cheeky.
Having Balo be able to take high ground immediately on one side, you've got Asfog and Under taking, hard engages. There's no CC, so Asfog could slam for free and not have to worry about it. And then Dr. Shark got in the backline. They literally had like 4 different angles that there's one brawl comp trying to look at. There's no way you can survive. And now the ults are up for both sides.
Here we go, Balo in with the copy there onto the Reinhardt, but Dr. Shark finds 3. And Dr. Shark, my goodness, sound barrier in from Norak to try to turn this around as they do get the copy off the field. Now we see Transcendence in from Kiori to keep Orthus alive here. And as good as this overtime push was from A10, Orthus absolutely coming back into this with a bang. Rally now as well from Blake. That's a lot of armor right now for A10 to try to break through. Hack comes in onto the Diva there. Unda is hacked out. We see right now the trickle game is on for A10, trying to find any window to maybe get an opportunity to take somebody down, but it seems like right now the comms from Orthus are clean as they try to take out these targets. Asfog right there pops the bombs on the point as well, making the staggers just that much more challenging for Orthus here. Tracer cannot get to the point, and Unchanged, I mean, if there's a way to answer back after that kind of disappointing defense there, that's got to be it.
Yeah, the difference here is, both teams snowballed straight from first to second and got the full cap. The difference is, Orthus only needed 1 fight on first point to win. They still have over 4.5 minutes in the time bank because they went, we're going to win this point in 1 fight, and then we're going to win this point in 1 fight. It's just, they played that team comp as clean as you could have, asked for. That was a perfect bull comp. And, you know, yes, A10 kind of played into it. The fact that they ran Brawl was, you know, ideal. It's exactly what a bull comp wants to see. You're just like, ooh, fun, off angles. Especially if there's no CC. I think, you know, bull just gets to engage for free. And, yeah, it's... play a comp well, enemy team makes it easy for you. Hey, look, steamroll.
Exactly. You can't ask for a better situation there. That was just a dominant attack from Orthus. That said, another overtime situation in this match. It just seems fitting here that we continue to have these overtime scenarios for these teams. I mean, Unchanged, I have to admit, I don't play in this division. Is this just EU in general? We get a lot of scrappy fights?
Yes. Yes. Someone that watches a lot of VODs of EU matches and has played in a fair few in the past, this tends to happen. Yeah, you get a breakdown and it just turns into a death match, especially in this ELO. But this is the team comp that I kind of want to see. It's not quite the double bubble, but the Winston, the dive comp. This is what I wanted to see from A10 on their first attack.
A10 right now in really loving the dive composition there, but it's being countered out by this Pharah right now for Balo. Balo got a couple of great directs there, and Orthus is going to fend off this opening attack here from A10, despite... Oh no. Oh no. Dr. Shark!
That baby does some damage, Dr. Shark. You're only a little tracer.
It might be a baby diva, but that baby diva still got a gun. And... you know, I mean, in the end, it's still the Trace, and the Trace will be back probably before the next fight really gets going here.
They got res straight back up.
Oh, they got res, pardon me. Well,
yeah, Flake, res, Dr. Shark, they're already back.
I mean...
Barlow is playing Pharah, though, which I will say, if you want to have one tip about how to win games in the EU, just play Pharah. EU doesn't know how to deal with a Pharah. So, Barlow's going to have some fun here in this team comp, I think.
Speaking of having fun, Balo finds another pick on the Blondie Rogue. One healer down now, and the stick from Dr. Shark. Dr. Shark's Tracer has been phenomenal here tonight, and yet another fantastic attack or defense here from Orthus. And there isn't enough time for A10 to get anything going here. And Orthus is looking like a full defense here on this point with the barrage of victory, I guess.
Yes, I'm surprised it wasn't used a little bit earlier. I don't think they quite realized what the time was and that they didn't need to save it, but they felt the need to pull it out, get a little flurry at the end. I think there was probably a call that it's over, and then the Pharah realized what they could do. But yeah, like I said, Barlow just having the greatest fun, just flying around in the skies in, like I said, what is probably the strongest hero to play in EU at the moment, especially in this ELO. There's not a lot that people know how to do to deal with a Pharah, a good Echo. So yeah, seeing that Orthus are favoring these kind of team comps and knowing that A10 haven't, from what I've seen of them in the past, it's dangerous. I'm interested to see what A10 go as a defense, knowing like they should have an understanding of what they need to counter now, and they're still going to run the Rhine into it. See, this I don't agree. I don't know what you think about this, but given the team comps that Orthus have played on this map, I don't think Rhine's the right pick here for A10.
You know, Unchanged, you're asking a Ryan man. So I will tell you that Reinhardt is always the right selection. But that being said, in this case, you know, at least they have Beater on the hit scan here, which should help a little bit. But, you know, I got to agree, the Reinhardt probably isn't the play here. But nonetheless, A10 sticking to their guns. They're going to count on Nero on that Reinhardt. And Nero's Reinhardt has been great tonight. But it just might be a compositional difference here. But we have 4 minutes and 30 seconds to find out, see if Orthus can claim yet another point here in this matchup tonight.
Yeah, and it's just one tick that they need.
Exactly, one tick is all it's going to take here for Orthus. So they have all the advantage. And look at this. They have already set up these angles here Unchanged. This is perfect for them. But it looks like a challenge will come onto the high ground there from Beezenors. And Follow is going to force out that immortality field, and Follow right now is being fended off just a little bit here, not able to get as much damage in. But what a biotic grenade from Kiori! But no follow-up, because it looks like they just were trying to get reset there. It looks like health pools were a little bit low, and Follow taken very low again.
Yeah, the Diva's doing a really good job at somehow covering 17 different angles. So Bezunor is much applause to you doing an amazing job here, but Shinbo's right clicks have just been lethal, chunking out so much health from everyone in this team. But the difference here is they have CC, they have the Mei, they have the Cassidy, and that's what really helped them. Dr. Shark and Asphalt couldn't get a good engage in, because as soon as they did, you know, they tried to hard engage like they did first fight last round, and they got stunned, and they weren't ready for it, and it chunked all of their health out, and it didn't matter what nades Curie was landing, there just wasn't enough damage. But the attempted spawn cap beater is going to have a little bit of a problem. There's going to be a bit of delay. Trading out your main tank for a hit scan, I'm not sure how that's going to go, but fight's committed now.
Dr. Shark. Ooh, negated stick. No, negated stick, but a crazy stick nonetheless there from Dr. Shark. The charge from Nero trying to get Balo. Oh my god, Balo. Oh no, Balo gets taken down there by the Reinhardt counter. The natural counter, of course, to Afara is a Reinhardt. I don't know if you knew that.
I've watched enough high elo games. I've seen some crazy fire strikes in my time, so it is what it is. But Blondie Rogue, amazing reactions on the Immo field. Immo, yes, it may be a broken ability. I may be biased in saying that it's not because I play BAP, but it just completely countered an ult there. But Asphalt did get the kill on the beater this time.
That's a huge kill on the beater. No hit scan now means Balo has all free reign. We see a Blizzard invade now from Shinbo, trying to hold it off, but the Farah just flies above it, and Farah is putting in all the work right now for Orthus, pardon me. And A10 looks like will fall here on Volskaya as Orthus played this composition to perfection, it seems, and takes down A10 here, moving up to 2-0 on this match.
Man, it was kind of inevitable. There was going to be a point where they were going to finally get a pick, finally break them down, because one pick is all they needed to break down this defense. But I do want to applaud A10. They did just hold for 3 minutes on defense against a comp that should have just hard countered them. And like I said, particularly Shinbo hitting some right clicks, Blondie with some really well-timed Immo fields, but Bezunor's on that Diva, that was some incredible play. They shut down so many different angles at the same time. They were always seeming to be in the right place that they needed to be at the right time, right up until that last fight. But like you said, their hit scan was down, so they couldn't just leave the Farah alone. But then once they went on the Farah, like I said, people started to die, and then they panicked and they tried to go on the Farah, and that's what the pool comp does to you. Unfortunately, off tank is you're trying to look in 17 different directions at once. I've been told from every off tank that I know, and it certainly looked like it there. There was only so much they could do in 4.5 minutes to get one tick. Like I say, it's bound to happen eventually.
An 8-10 right now, just for the record here. Orthus and 8-10 both in this elimination pool right now. Really, unfortunately, no elimination stakes at stake here for either of these teams because of a couple of withdrawals. So they are playing just for playoff seeding right now. We'll have kind of a summary of what's at stake here in this matchup here in just a few moments. We're going to head to a 10-minute halftime, and we'll see you in just a few.
Welcome back, everybody, to this EU feature match. I am Mr. Yeti, joined right now by Unchanged. We're looking at Orthus sitting up 2-0 against Aten in what has been a very close matchup here so far.
It certainly has. It's been nothing but overtime fights. Every single map, every single point so far, we've pretty much seen an overtime fight. Even with a 4.5 minute time bank, you know, we didn't get quite to overtime, but there were 3 minutes drawn off of that last time bank from Orthus. So, you know, every fight has seemed to be very long, very scrappy, and then all of a sudden someone just pops off with an ult, and we see that, you know, pull out the victory. So, King's Row is gonna be interesting because, again, it's a Brawl v Brawl favored map. Both of these teams look comfortable on that. A10 looked a little bit favored, but Orthus pulled out the win even still on the Brawl Mirror map on Oasis. So it's a map that could go either way because both teams are very comfortable on it. But at the same time, what kind of fights are we even going to see? Because this, like you said, everything has just been overtime, drawn out fights.
Now, this is the final week of Stage 2. This is the last chance for teams to jockey for playoff positioning. Each of these teams will make the playoffs here, barring a very unique situation, which I'll describe. The winner out of this round is going to be sitting in the 8th seed in this in the upcoming tournament, and the loser is going to be sitting in the 10th seed in the upcoming tournament here, as EU Scrimbucks will get a 4-0 today over Frequency with a Frequency forfeit. So EU Scrimbucks will be sitting in the 9th seed regardless of this scenario, except for one thing. So there are some things being played at stake here. EU Scrimbucks probably is going to be facing the winner of this match more than likely, with the loser of the match will be taking on whoever is the 7th seed. Could be Thunderbolt Rewind, could be Acer, could be Hellhounds. Lots to play for there. Interesting scenario, though. If Orthus wins this 3-2, we will have the very unique scenario of 3 teams tied at 2-1 with a +4 map differential, which means we
The
have to go.
circle of suck.
The circle of suck will be completed, and we will instead move to stage 1 records to determine that seeding, which there's just so much going on here. I can't even really describe it. And Opie throws a flashbang into the wall for some reason. But here we go now as Orthus on the defense, Aten on the attack here, and Shinbo will be the first to fall with that May wall separating apart that team. And a big freeze right there from Balo is going to open up a window there for Orthus to push through A10 here. We see a stun on the Balo, manages to pop the ice block there to stay alive, and pressuring all the way up to the door is Orthus right now. Balo a little too cheeky there, almost paid the price, but the pressure is being pushed back here as Kiori leads the team back after a couple kills himself.
Yeah, she had to pump out a lot of healing at the end of that. It was like 4 people that had the critical I need healing symbol above their head. So, but well played, well cleaned up. You know, they forced the fight. They got the good wall off. A good shot here. Ashfog pulling it off, gets to pick immediately onto Narrow, because when there's a window behind you and you get shattered, you're not going to survive. And now Oppie, who subbed in for Dr. Shark on the hit scan, landing some nice shots right now, some clean aim on that Cassidy. And Curie lands a headshot at the end and gets a kill. They slight stagger onto Bezunor's.
Yeah, this rough. That's a rough spot there. But anyway, yeah, go on.
It's been some clean fights from Orthus here. Some good walls, and they're getting good picks. And when you get picks in Brawl, that leads to fight wins.
Orthus right now is in control here. 2 minutes and 15 seconds left on this attack now for A10. Opie gets around the corner here. Speed boost helps them find Shinbo. Shinbo taken down as well as Bezonor's. And that is going to be Orthus again with another clean, quick, and decisive fight win.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about what Dr. Shark was able to do on the Sim and the Tracer in these last few maps, but Oppie on this Cassidy has just been clicking heads, landing good stuns, knows when to right click, and has also got some good ults off there, just picking off Shinbo. You know, like I said, picks are everything in a brawl comp like this, and it nearly beat her, just getting denied by the immortality field, but now all the healing being forced out by Curie.
Bezonor's finds Balo's Blizzard there. Bezonor's getting a little hungry after halftime, it seems. And now, all of a sudden, A10 able to push in. Sound barrier now in from Norak here. Self-destruct in from Unda to try to clutch this out. And they do find a couple of kills. Narrow and Beater taken down. And there's the D-Mech as well. Oh, sorry, being used as a self-destruct there from Bezonor's. And they will find the silly. They got the funny kill on the flank. Excuse me, go ahead.
Lucio dying is not what you expect. That's the one person that can consistently speed away from a remake, but got a little bit over-aggressive trying to get close and confirm the kills. Bezonor's, I think, just kind of... I don't want to say they carried. The rest of my team also did amazing. Shinbo got some huge freezes off a huge blizzard, but Bezonor's at the blizzard from Balo, got a remake kill, didn't die by using her bomb, and that's what ultimately, I think, just won that fight for them. There was nothing they could do. So, again... Bezunor has been a name I've mentioned a lot today. Some great off-tank play here tonight.
Absolutely, been fantastic. The whole tank line from A10 has been playing quite well tonight so far, despite the 2-0 deficit. But it looks like A10 is going to be able to hit the streets here. 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock, and it looks like Orthus is just going to give them the corner. It's kind of interesting. Usually you see teams playing aggressive up to this choke, and we're not seeing that here from Orthus.
No, they are just kind of holding back there. I don't know if they're waiting for a regroup. They felt like some people were low. Asfog still just barely building up. Maybe they were trying to bait into that window, but Narrow hit one even better, and Oppie can only trade one kill out in the back.
Oppie gets one, finds a second though, taking Bezonor's out of the neck, or out of the mech there. Beater does take down Oppie as well. So it does look like a bit of a scrappy one nonetheless. It does seem Orthus is going to win this one. It looks like they were trying to bait them back into that high noon there from Oppie.
Yeah, they had the window on one side and Oppie in the back with the high noon. They were hoping to just kind of sandwich them in between that, which they did. You know, it might not have worked quite how they intended it to, but it did win them the team fight. And now they're holding up at Bookstore. They don't want to push too far past this cart. Kind of a symptom of this elo is wanting to stay close to the objective.
Big self-destruct in, but it's complete. 2 ultimates completely negated there by one little frisbee disc
But the heat now from Unda proving that this is not a one-sided competition there with that diva play. But Beater does find the first kill on the Balo. 3 ultimates and 1 kill so far. Kind of reminds me of Goats meta all over again. But A10 right now, speaking of Goats, just absolutely aggressing onto Orthus right now. And that is going to be A10 walking away with this fight win.
It is, and some, some great, it was actually a great stun from Beater over the shield, allowed them to kind of melt down Asfog and get kills like that. And yeah, like I said, again, as soon as one off tank eats a Mei ult, that's a complete flip of the fight. And this time, Under did it, but they still managed to lose. So it doesn't seem to matter what people are doing here. Certain plays just getting flipped, and we said earlier, A10 just looked dominant on this brawl, and more ults coming into this fight. Are they going to get any more kills?
So aggressive, and Nero is absolutely isolated out there. And Oppie with the Deadeye there takes down Beater. And it looks like Orthus will fend off this initial attack here as Nero got really far away from the rest of their team.
Yeah, there's being aggressive, and then there's doing what Naro did just there, which is soloing into the backline. They were able to stun him out and get the kill on him. Doesn't matter whether ults were used. You saw Blondie try and throw that immortality field as far as they could into that backline, but even then they couldn't reach it all the way to where Naro was. So a little bit too far. But ults now coming up. They have Blizzard, and they have Blizzard now being used on the other side by Balo.
What a blizzard from Balo there. It's going to end this fight before it really began. And A10 right now is absolutely on the ropes, and that's going to be the end of that fight for Orthus. Just really, really dominant counterattack there.
Yeah, I was just about to call out, look at the number of ults that A10 are coming into this fight with, and then Balo goes, yeah, but I'm going to use mine first.
Yes. I mean, that tends to be such a thing. It's such a thing that you have to train a lot of these teams at these elos. Use your ultimates aggressively. Be aggressive with your ultimates. And typically, who uses them first is oftentimes the team you win.
It certainly is. And now Shimbo's looking to get the same utility out of theirs. It doesn't quite, but it does get Asfog, which, losing your Ryan is going to be a lot. But Oppie, high noon for a window, just instantly gets the pick back.
And that's a fantastic play there from Oppie. But the turnaround now with Nero pressing in gets both of the DPS there. So A10 bouncing back a little bit here, but now they'll be bouncing back to the spawn room, it looks like, trying to get a reset in as Blake sends Blondie to the bottoms of the Foundry in King's Row.
Yeah, the picks that were kind of favoring A10 that they managed to get on the first 2 points of attack, not quite so beneficial here. The respawn's slightly faster for the defense than the offense here, and it's balancing out these fights, but now they have Shimbo on Junkrat. This should be interesting.
As a Junkrat player, I am always a fan of a Junkrat choice, but right now it doesn't seem to be working out here for A10 as they continue to fall here quickly. Unfortunately, not able to find really any sort of advantage here as Orthus looks to be in control here of this fight and will take this round here, and they shut it down right before the last corner here in King's Row. Not a bad attack, but, for your A10, you got to feel like maybe you left a little bit on the table there.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Orthus were maybe going to get a full hold on first point, but then all of a sudden A10 just started getting it rolling, and they got through those. They got, they capped first, they got a good push through second, they were making their way on the third, but then an amazing hold from Orthus. Like I said, the slight 2 CP spawn at the end of King's Row came into effect, and the picks weren't quite adding up enough to get a cap, but for Orthus, this gives them a definitive, we know where we need to push. This is winnable now. Mm-hmm. This isn't, we're not going to have to go into next round. We're not going to have to push all the way. A hold before the end of third, that is just hey, look at this glowing spot here. That's all we need to get. You know what you're working for now.
Absolutely. Right now, for A10, they are in a spot where they're going to have to get a strong defense out for sure. Orthus, right now, staring that number 8 seed as it sits right in front of them right now, trying to get that higher seed for the playoffs here. They're in prime position to do so. But A10, this is far from over for them. They got Beater now on the Soldier 76.
As we take a look here, the ball composition again for Orthus has been just fantastic for them so far, and they're going to set up against this brawl. We saw it on the last map.
Yep.
We get the pleasure of seeing it again.
Yeah, they just knew that as a defensive team, you don't have time to swap. You have to take this first fight. So they went, what are they going to run? Well, they're probably going to run Brawl. Okay, we're going to run our Bull Fire comp that destroyed their Brawl last time. And let's see if they can do it again. King's Row, slightly harder to get these off angles on, but if they can get them, it's going to be destruction for this A10 team.
A sleep onto Asfog will slow them down a little bit here, but Ballo right now, those directs are doing a lot of damage for Orthus, and Ballo finds 3, Ballo with a 4th, and Ballo looking to secure a 5th one here, as Ballo firmly in control here on that Pharah, and that was basically just an absolute, just kind of exhibition of proper Pharah play.
Yeah, I'm getting some deja vu. I know a Pharah that lands shots like that, and it's always impressive to see. No naming names, but yeah, Ballo looking impressive with the Pharah today. Just directs, spamming, melting entire health pools out of this Brawl comp. And there's no swap. I expected a swap out of A10. They're going to try and stick to it. Streets phase is notoriously difficult for the Brawl comp, but they still have Pharah. They still favor. It's going to be a hard hold here.
It's going to be for sure. Right now I'm watching Ballo really closely here. They have that barrage on hand. Going to be watching very closely to see how Bezenors does to be able to counter that out. A lot of pressure on your Diva player here in order to stop them. But does anybody... Oh, they just realized where Ballo is, and Ballo... They're saying your mercy. Okay, good. That got a little bit close there for Orthus. Let's see the lift now in. No real follow-up coming in as they wall off their own Reinhardt. And despite the late contest by Bezo, it doesn't really matter. Bezenor is able to kill Ballo, but the rest of the team is already dead.
Yeah, and look at the ults that Orthus still have. They have both support ults coming online for them now, which is going to increase their team's damage immensely. It's going to increase their team's survivability with the Valkyrie from the Mercy if they need the group healing. And Oppie, can they hit a Dr. Shark-like sticky on this Tracer and, pull a couple kills off to turn a fight around? This has been another dominant, and there's still... Yes, they have ults on the side of A10, but there's still no swaps coming out to counter this team comp. Oh, good eat.
Good eat from Bezenor, but it doesn't matter because Ballo has the nano boost, is in the back line of A10 right now, and Ballo's Pharah is absolutely dominant right now. Self-destruct now from Bezenor is trying to find really any way to stem this bleeding, but unfortunately for them, it's going to be 5 minutes on the clock here for Orthus as they push into the Foundry, and that golden box of victory and that golden box, I guess, of the 8th seed in this case is real close right now for Orthus.
I feel like I'm watching an OG Scrimbucks VOD or something. This is some impressive ball comp play from Orthus here. They've shown their dominance on it, and they are playing it perfectly. They're forcing double hit scan with a Bastion out of A10. That is how desperate A10 are to try and deal with this fire right now.
What a play there again from A10. Shinbo now on the Bastion, just looking for really anything possible they can do. That's a lot. Shinbo! No!
Oh, the mines!
Such a... the absolute gall of Asfog there, but it's just over, and Orthus dominantly and thoroughly dismantles A10 on King's Row, goes up 3-0, takes this map, and takes this match now as a result here, sitting up 3-0, going into our final and unfortunately completely inconsequential match.
Yeah, you'd like to see it be closer, but this was the definition of a compositional difference for this team. They trust Ballo on the Pharah. Ballo, who is a very good Pharah player, my friend who is filling in for Flex DPS on Scrimbooks told me they did a little Pharah 1v1 in the sky on, I believe it was Nepal, the shrine map on the pool, and Ballo was landing mid-air directs on my friend. So yeah, I know, I've heard all too well about the Ballo Pharah, and it certainly showed here, and they just played into the fact that they know that the defense kind of definitely doesn't have time on first point to swap, and they were just like, yeah, so we're just gonna play a team comp that counters them, right? Cool. And they just steamroll through, and yeah, it's painful to watch a team try and run Brawl into a ball comp, but it's also fun to watch a team pop off on ball comp.
Exactly. And Pharah play is always exciting, especially when they're hitting their directs. It just is a fantastic thing to watch. We're going to Junkertown with our last matchup here. We've seen that Brawl composition be a favorite of A10 so far today. And they go to Junkertown, which is quite possibly one of the worst brawl maps in the game. So I'm very curious to see where A10 is going with this. But nonetheless, like I said, not a whole lot at stake anymore regarding seeding. Orthus just locked up the 8th seed with that one. A10 will go into the 10th seed, and they'll be taking on one of a few different teams here, depending on the results of a few other matches. They could be facing Acer, they could be facing Thunderbolt Rewind, or they could be facing Hellhounds, depending on how our other matches go today. But we'll be watching the scoreboards to see how things go down. We do have one score, by the way, in the books elsewhere. It was Apollo taking on Feeders United. Apollo picked up the 4-0 in that matchup, which means Apollo locks up the first seed in the tournament, and Feeders United will take the number 2 seed moving into the playoffs as well. So that match is done, and that one scenario is resolved. Still a lot to play for across all of the EU today, so make sure to keep a close eye on those discussion channels so you can see what is going on in the EU today as they set up for the playoffs starting next week here in Tranquility.
Yeah, and it's a double shield coming out again from Orthus, and a Rhine double shield coming out from A10. Narrow seems very set on playing the Rhine right now, but let's see if Beater on the Widow can get some picks.
Beater now on the Widowmaker up against this double shield composition. It's a little bit of a tough comp. Well, when you hit shots like that, it doesn't really matter. So Beater finds Opie there looking in the back line. So Beater right now just jamming shots into the shield there, not really able to find any value yet. Balo, however, on the Hanzo takes down Bezanors. So A10 right now is starting to push through this choke point here, but it looks like they will be held off for now as Orthus is in control. And we see the Soldier 76. Oh no, Shinbo gets a little bit caught out here, and the trickle onto the point is coming in with Nero still trying to swing away, but not able to find any sort of kills there. And the attack continues to be repelled here by Orthus.
Yeah, there's just nothing really that's stopping the tanks and Barlow from just sitting on that high ground. Oppie jumping off the map might have something to do about stopping that, but Narrow swapping onto the ball, that's what I like to see. This is a big change. Ball is so much better against this team comp than Orion.
Ball is a good choice here. We get to finally see Nero on that wrecking ball here tonight. You see Nero find Kiori as well. Nero spinning through Orthus there, knocks up a bunch of them with a pile driver here. Malo looking for a target, and here comes that Dragon Strike in onto the cart, which is going to send A10 scrambling. They get brought very low, but they do manage to get kept up by Blondie Rope there with some huge heals. Under right now, sitting on that Gravitic Flux. Will they invest into this fight? It looks to be a tough situation for them, but Shinbo now with that tactical visor that is going to lock down this first point here for A10.
Man, Blondie has been really good throughout this entire match. They may have lost every map, but some of these timings on these immortality fields, their teammates have got to be loving the play. Like, they've kept them alive so many times. They definitely cannot be questioning their healers today. Oppie, I think, might have some questions thrown their direction after hopping off the map, leaving Orthus down a DPS going into that fight. I feel like that, with how close these two teams are, that one little mistake that was made was all that was needed to turn that fight around. And again, getting picked off early.
Caught early by Nero here. Gotta love A10 pulling out this composition, given that they're all on this last match, despite not a whole lot coming really with regards to impact regarding the result. Bezanors now pops the ultimate here. I'm sorry, pardon me. That was Unda popping the ultimate there, but Beater finds a couple of kills there with that Deadeye. You see a lot of ultimates now. The Qs are being pressed here. A10 pushing with that Transcendence from Norak, and Bezanors finds Unda as well. And this is honestly the best we've seen A10 looking in a couple maps here. Really strong.
Again, as someone that plays a lot of Baptiste myself, I never quite understand when people are like, Immortality is a broken ability, because mine always just seems to get destroyed immediately. People blow it up in a second. Blondie, though, again, like you thought that was Bezunor was using their ult. It wasn't. It was under. They got slammed, but there was an Immortality field right there, so it doesn't matter. They're not going to die. Blondie's then going to hit nothing but directs for healing on them, and everything's okay again. It's just incredible Baptiste play from Blondie today. But Oppie this time gets a pick. Not getting picked off, got the pick.
Exactly. It's on the Wrecking Ball. Ball will be back in just a moment here. Bezunor is sitting with this Gravitic Flux, still hasn't found a great opportunity to use it quite yet, and Asphalt gets caught out by Norak there as they get taken down, but Norak is dropped as well. Down a healer now for Aten, and they lose Shinbo as well there to Unda. And it looks like Bezunor is going to continue to push this cart as the cart continues to not be contested. The lift into the high ground there, very, very, very tough ultimate there for Bezunor, and they get caught out and pay the price there for that aggression. As it looks like Orthus is going to clean this one up here and put Aten in a really tough spot here. It's always a tough point to attack at this spot.
Yeah, like I said, Barlow with this projectile play today has just been really clean. Good direct hits from the fire. Now good clean shots being landed on the Hanzo to get picks. It's been a really good showing from the DPS of Orthus. And now Oppie looking to get a little bit sneaky in for a backline dive. But I really think A10 need to try and contest this high ground a bit more.
Here we go now. A10 contesting, or could go shooting for the low ground instead. Shinbo getting over to the high ground there. Has that tactical visor as well. Going to start pressuring in. Is getting really aggressive into the back line of Orthus here and pays the price for that positioning. A10 now sitting with some finally some card progression here as Norak uses Transcendence here, which is going to enable A10 to continue to push further. Dragon Strike from Balo not finding anything right now as they get dropped by Narrow on the Wrecking Ball here. Oppie, though, does find Bezunor, and that is going to mean that Orthus is looking to hold this one off here. Asphalt wins the duel with Norak there as well. And A10 now will fall here as Orthus continues to hold 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, I thought with some of the ults coming out from Orthus, not the best usage. I thought it might have been a little bit questionable. Ballo opting to use the dragons a little bit too close to point, in my opinion. Didn't give it enough coverage to deny space, but it didn't matter because in the meantime, the rest of his team was able to get space and get kills around him, and they're still just holding this high ground. That's really been the big difference here is A10 are just repeatedly trying to run into them from the low ground, but this high ground with the rotations you can make on it is so strong, and Orthus are taking advantage of that.
Orthus has done a really good job taking advantage of some of those. But nonetheless, Asphalt gets caught out there, perhaps a little bit greedy for the wrecking ball. I didn't see that either. Narrow almost with the C9, and are they going to manage to get out of there? No, not quite. Really good biotic grenade there from Kiori. Kiori has hit a few of those today, and they've been really, really good at kind of pushing on those and using their angles here. I mean, it's kind of that ball composition we talked about. They've been playing it really well tonight so far. This is a very, very good-looking Orthus team, I have to say.
Yeah, when you think this is two teams in the elimination bracket, so yes, maybe opposition is what it is. It's easier to play when you're under slightly less pressure.
Oh, no.
But this play has been, they've shown that they have the core understandings of how to play these team comps, and they're certainly doing it there. Yeah, nearly a little C9 that would have been slightly questionable. Narrow desperately trying to do his best, but Oppie was observant enough to and got back there in time before most of us have noticed. And in the meantime, Under is just getting kills, and Ballo goes for an EMP. I think the fight was won, but that's one hell of a way to confirm it. And another Bartic nade following up as well.
Not an ideal situation there, I have to say, for
A10 now sitting at 20% and counting here. Tough to go here for A10 on this attack. Tough one to get into. Right now, Narrow, though, has the mines coming in here, or just about has the mines, I should say. Norak as well with the Transcendence, so they will be able to get on this point. More than likely, there's the Transcendence to move onto the point here, hack in onto Narrow. not able to use the mines quite yet, and the mines will be coming in here in just a moment. You have to figure there they are. And so far, a couple of kills now in the favor of A10 as they continue to try to push this here. Blondie on the cart, spamming those shields like there's nothing to lose at this point, because there is absolutely nothing to lose. But Unda puts A10 down with a massive gravitic flux there, and Unda and Asphalt on the point, just crazy stuff.
I was about to say, like, Orthus had been doing so well, they've been holding the high ground, and again A10 try and run in from the low ground, but it looked like all of a sudden A10 had that push, and it was like, oh my god, it's going to be another crazy overtime last second push, and instead it then flipped again. The tank ults come out from Unda and Astfog, and they just completely, 3 kills each for them. There's one hell of a way to win a team fight for sure. So the rest of their team holding out just long enough that these two tanks can have their pop-off moment tonight.
So we do have a couple of results from out in the other brackets, by the way. That's worth mentioning these, I believe. Venice Vipers are up 3-0 over Paid to Win in their matchup. So Venice Vipers have just locked in the 5th seed here, and that means Paid to Win will be looking at the 6th seed. And going into the other ones, Acer has taken a win. They're already up 3-0 over Thunderbolt Rewind. So Acer will take that 3rd seed, and Hellhounds will claim that 4th seed, while Thunderbolt Rewind will move into the 7th seed, which means that our playoff matches are already set here, Unchanged.
Yeah, so it's going to be A10 facing off against Thunderbolt Rewind, from what you said earlier. Exactly. Orthus have to take on my Scrimbox, and then the rest of it I lost track of.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We can cover that at the end of this broadcast here. We'll talk about it briefly before we go offline here today. But right now, like we said, not a whole lot to play for here for A10, as they are already locked into that 10th seed. Orthus already locked into that 8th seed as it sits right now. So here we go now for Orthus, just basically competing, just to see what they can, or just for a statement. A 4-0 statement win over A10 would be pretty big, pretty nice for them. So
yeah, and again they've got that golden box of glory, as we called it on King's Row. They know what they need to do to win. Narrow did get picked off early and has opted to swap onto the Roadhog here. Doesn't feel like Ball was their pick necessarily, but Beater on the Widow did get a counter pick, but now has to try and be careful not to get killed. And Kiori showing that Ana is truly the dominant sniper out of the two.
My goodness, there, Orthus pushing through. The Roadhog, typically when I see it come out, oftentimes I'm like, okay, all right, we're getting silly now, and maybe we are getting a little bit silly right now. But Narrow at the same time, a lot of times as a tank player, when you're getting beat up and thrown around and CC'd constantly, switching to the Roadhog you're just like, okay, fine, I'm doing this myself now. And I get that. I've been there, man. It's just normal. I feel like it's normal.
Yeah, I have no sympathy for tank mains. You put yourself in that situation. I'm just kidding. But no, I've heard many a tank main say very similar things. It haunts my ranked matches hearing the screw this, I'm going hog. So I understand the feeling. He got hacked and immediately picked off in that last team fight, and he was like, yeah, that's it, I've had enough. In the meantime, though, Asfog on his main tank game is popping off right here. Gets nanoed, slams in with the engage.
Oh, did you see that long range stick from Opti? It didn't kill the Diva, but that stick was crazy onto Bezonors, and it's gonna put A10 back on the ropes one more time. And Orthus continues to push through. They're going to be heading into the vault here at almost 6 minutes Unchanged. That is insane.
This has been a snowball. Like I said, they got ults off of capping first point, didn't have to use them to cap, and then just threw 3-4 of them into that last team fight, and yeah, they just rolled straight through one fight and they get first, or 2 fights and they get first and second. Asfox just what an EMP!
What an EMP. What a combo there. The pile driver followed immediately by the EMP. A bunch of hacked half-health targets, and Oppi is there to pick off the remains. And my goodness, for Orthus right now, just not letting off the gas whatsoever. A10 trying to rally back here, but it's just been so dominant by Orthus on this map so far.
Man, I'm going to have to do a lot of coaching to get my team ready for these combos. It's been just incredible team play from Orthus here. More what's coming out, they're just steamrolling. This is 8C.
I'm very impressed by what I'm seeing from Orthus in this matchup. You know, after map 1 there, it could have been so easy for them just to sit there and say, God, we're in for a close one. Oh man, this is gonna be tough. But they just took the bull by the horns here. And despite now, it looks like they will drop this fight here, losing a few there. Rally now from Norak to try to push back Orthus here, try to stabilize. They finally get, this is really the first time they've been stabilized this whole attack.
Yeah, like, they didn't really look stable, like you said, for any of Orthus's attacks. They looked like they were falling apart. Please, 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 Aten, take the high ground. Defend from the high ground. Use it to your advantage. Here we go. They are setting up. Norak not quite getting the memo. Maybe they're going to work it. They have the DPS on high ground, so I'm favoring it. But Orthus have already got their entire team set up on this high ground. And another EMP.
Another EMP, and it's huge from Balo there. Going to be immediately followed by the gravitic flux there from Unda, and that is looking like about all she wrote in this matchup here, as Orthus is going to continue this push here. Nero does fall. Deadeye now in from Beater, not able to connect with anything. Here comes the tactical visor now from Shinbo, trying to fend them off a little bit so a contest can come in here. Contest is now in as Asphalt finds Shinbo, but that is going to look like now Orthus is completely in control, picking off the scraps of A10 here. And Orthus comes into this match with a lot to play for, and they come out and not only win, but in dominant fashion. They 4-0 or A10, and Orthus comes out of this one as your winner.
Convincingly there, yeah. Some very good play. They just know what they need to do to get these wins. They know how to take advantage of the enemy's team comps. That's what's been impressive. The combos, the high ground rotations, the triple kills from tank ults. It's very impressive from Orthus. I've greatly enjoyed this matchup because, yes, Orthus won 4-0, but it was like, apart from that last map, it was far from a sweep by any means. We had lots of very close fights. A10 showed their strengths. They showed what they can do. They had some very good fight wins. There were points where I thought they had map wins in their favor, and like we said, Orthus, some of them overtime fights, I think, in those first couple maps might have just slightly broken the mental of this A10 team and allowed them to just keep pushing through for the rest of these maps. Because it looked like they just kept getting better, but I feel like that's slightly more of a, in this kind of elo, I feel like that's probably more down to the mentality of the enemy. Once you start losing those really close overtime fights, it does start to get to you, and it is hard to push your way through that.
Now, like I said before, we do actually have our playoffs now set in EU as a result of all these matches being completed today. So again, to highlight what is going on, we have your number 1 seed is going to be Apollo, and your number 2 seed is going to be Feeders United. Both of them will have buys in this first round coming up next week. But the matchups are set in the upper bracket. These teams both have 2 lives. They'll be playing in double elimination. You have your 4th seed and your 5th seed. Your 4th seed is going to be Hellhounds here in that one, and they will be taking on Venice Vipers. So that should be a very good matchup there in that upper bracket. Then you have also the 3rd seed taking on the 6th seed. The 3rd seed is Acer after their big win over Thunderbolt Rewind tonight, and they will be taking on the number 6 seed, and that is Paid to Win. So another great looking matchup there as well in that upper bracket. Both those teams, again, both those matchups will be put into double elimination. So if you're a loser in this one, you do not necessarily go to the end or go to the bottom there as well. Then again, in the lower bracket, these teams have just 1 life left. They are playing for their lives every single playoff match. The 7th seed is Thunderbolt Rewind, and they will be taking on the number 10 seed is that A10 Esports. And then number 8 seed, again, is Orthus, and they'll be taking on the 9th seed, and that's EU Scrimbucks. So there's no easy matchups there, no guarantees in that pool whatsoever. A lot of fantastic matchups here. Unchanged, your playoffs are set, and man, it's going to be a competitive one for EU, no question.
It certainly is. Every team in this competition is very closely matched. There is, like I said, there is a bit of a step from the top teams to the bottom half. But as far as teams within each bracket is concerned, as we saw tonight, the teams in their own brackets are so closely matched. Apollo, I'm slightly surprised that they pulled out a 4-0 victory tonight against Feeders United. I would have, I'm going to personally be reviewing some of those VODs. I would like to see how that went for sure. But yeah, other than that, it's been nothing but close matches throughout this entire competition for the EU, and it's certainly interesting to see, and it's promising moving forward for this tournament. We will certainly be hoping to get more matches with the same sort of excitement that we had tonight for the rest of the EU featured matches.
So next week, again, starts off the playoffs here. EU will be kicking us off next week. You're not going to want to miss any of that, but we do have more features on this channel coming up here this week. Tonight in NA at 9:30 Eastern time on this channel, you'll see Zeus taking on Reckless Arcadia. And then on Thursday, you will see a matchup. That one is between, and pardon me, because of course I am totally prepared as always, Domination taking on Frost Surge in that matchup there as well. So 2 fantastic broadcasts left to go this week as we wrap the regular season and move into the playoffs. Shout out to Booth here for the awesome production tonight. Certainly appreciate it as always. And a shout out to you, Unchanged, as well. Working the analyst tonight. Did a fantastic job.
To these little boys that helped my throat survive. These are godsends. Anyone from England, not sponsored, but Jakeman's Cough Sweets. They will save your life if you have a sore throat.
There we go. And thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. We hope to see you later tonight. I am Mr. Yeti Cass, and we will see you again real soon.
Bye.